In the annals of horse racing history, where champions rise and fall like tides, one name stands alone, untouched by defeat: Kingsum. With a perfect record of 54 wins from 54 starts, the Hungarian Wonder Mare's unbeaten streak is not just a record. It's a mythic tale etched in time, a testament to equine greatness that spans nearly 150 years. No horse, neither the Great Secretariat, nor the invincible Frankel, nor the fiery Zenyatta, has matched her unbroken streak. Her story is one of improbable origins, iron will, supreme talent, and a legacy that transcends borders, languages, and even centuries. Kingsum was foaled in 1874 at the Tapio Szent Martin stud farm of Hungarian aristocrat Erno Blaskovic, a man whose devotion to breeding and racing horses was matched only by his pride in the Hungarian nation. Her name, Kingsum, meaning my treasure in Hungarian, was perhaps prophetic, though at the time of her birth she seemed unremarkable. A gawky, unimpressive-looking filly with a narrow frame and gangly limbs, she was initially passed over. By many who dismissed her as ordinary, it's said that Blaskovic had second thoughts about even keeping her. Yet fate, ever a subtle hand in history, had different plans. He decided to give her a chance, entrusting her training to Robert Hesp, a British-born trainer who would become a critical figure in shaping Kingsum's unparalleled career. Kingsum's debut race came in 1876 at the tender age of 2. Most racehorses are still developing at that stage, physically and mentally, but Kingsum, despite her youthful inexperience, demonstrated speed, balance, and an uncanny competitive drive. She won. Then she won again, and again, and again. As the victories piled up, it became clear that she was not simply a talented juvenile, she was exceptional, the kind of horse that comes along once in a lifetime, if that. Her undefeated 2-year-old season consisted of 10 races, all wins. But it was only the beginning. What makes Kingsum's record even more astonishing is the geographical diversity of her victories. Unlike many modern champions, who often remain on familiar circuits, Kingsum raced across 10 different tracks in 5 different countries: Hungary, Germany, Austria, Slovakia, and even France and the United Kingdom. In an era before air travel, this meant long, arduous journeys by train and carriage, often lasting days. The logistics alone would be daunting for any racehorse, let alone a filly traveling across unfamiliar terrains. Yet Kingsum thrived. She seemed to gain strength from adversity, maintaining peak form no matter the location, the length of the race, the type of competition, or the quality of the turf. From sprints to long-distance contests, she could do it all. Her versatility was unparalleled. Among her most famous wins were the Austrian Derby, 1877, the Hungarian 2000 Guineas, the Hungarian St. Leger, the Goodwood Cup in England, 1878. It's the Goodwood Cup victory that perhaps best illustrates her greatness on a global scale. English racing fans were notoriously skeptical of foreign horses, especially those from less celebrated racing nations like Hungary. Kingsum arrived at Goodwood amidst suspicion and curiosity. By that point, she had already won over 30 races. But England was different. It was the heartland of modern horse racing. The pressure was immense, the field was strong, and Kingsum won easily. What also made Kingsum beloved by her connections and the public was her spirited personality. She was said to have a strong, almost human temperament. She refused to race unless her personal cat, yes, a cat named Chalogany, was in her stall. The two were inseparable. If the cat was not nearby, Kingsum would become nervous and unsettled. She was also famously picky about her grooms and her surroundings. But once satisfied, she was all business on the track. Her strength, grace, and sheer determination were unmatched. Kingsum developed a cult following during her racing years. In Hungary, she was more than a horse. She was a national symbol. Newspapers chronicled her every race. Children in Budapest were said to role-play as Kingsum, galloping through the streets. In Austria and Germany, she was received with awe and admiration. Even in France and Britain, where foreign horses were often dismissed, she earned deep respect. Kinsom's record is made even more astonishing when considering the brutal racing conditions of the 19th century. There were few of the modern veterinary practices we now take for granted. There were no regulated track standards. Recovery time between races was shorter. Diets were less controlled. And yet, Kinsom never once missed a race due to injury or fatigue. It is believed that her unusual conformation gave her certain advantages. Though not a beauty by traditional standards, her long legs and narrow chest made some early critics call her awkward. These features turned out to be biomechanically ideal. Her lung capacity was immense, her stride efficient, and her heart, both metaphorical and literal, was huge. Modern studies of great racehorses often cite the X-factor theory, which suggests that many champions have abnormally large hearts. Secretariat, for example, is said to have had a heart nearly 2.5 times the average size. While Kingsom's remains were never scientifically examined in this way, anecdotal evidence suggests she may have had a similarly extraordinary heart. Behind every great racehorse is a team, and in Kingsom's case, her British trainer Robert. Hesp and her longtime jockey Elijah Madden deserve immense credit. Hesp was meticulous in preparing Kinsom for races. He understood her quirks and moods, tailored her training routines accordingly, and never pushed her beyond her limits. He knew when to give her space and when to demand more. Madden, meanwhile, developed a deep bond with Kinsom. Their communication was subtle but powerful. In many races, Madden barely needed to urge her on. She seemed to sense what was needed and responded naturally. It's often said that the best jockeys don't control great horses, they harmonize with them, and Madden and Kinsom were in perfect sync. Kinsom was retired in 1879, undefeated, unchallenged, and unparalleled. Her final tally, 54 wins from 54 starts, a world record for most wins without a single loss that remains intact to this day. But her story did not end at retirement. Kinsom went on to become a highly influential broodmare. She produced 5 foals, including Budagyongye, a winner of multiple classic races. Her bloodlines continued to influence European thoroughbred breeding for decades. While many of her direct descendants faded from the spotlight, her genetic influence can still be traced through less obvious branches of thoroughbred lineage. Her name appears deep in the pedigrees of several champions, though the impact is more symbolic now than direct. In Hungary, Kinsom remains a cultural icon. Statues have been erected in her honor. A racecourse in Budapest, Kinsom Park, bears her name. There are books, films, and even a proposed biopic in development to tell her story to new generations. She is not merely remembered as a racehorse, but as a national heroine, a living emblem of Hungarian pride and excellence. Her image appears on stamps. Her name is synonymous with greatness. In racing circles, whenever a new undefeated horse begins to stir excitement, whether it's Black Caviar in Australia, Frankel in England, or Zenyatta in the US, Kingsom's name inevitably surfaces. They ask, can this one match Kinsom? So far, none have come close. Frankel, arguably the best racehorse of the 21st century, went undefeated in 14 starts. Black Caviar retired with 25 wins from 25 starts. Zenyatta came close, with 19 straight victories, before finishing second in her final race. And while these horses deserve every ounce of their fame and admiration, Kingsom's record towers above all. 54 races, 54 wins, 0 losses. It's a question that has echoed for generations. What made Kinsom so utterly unbeatable? Part of the answer lies in her physiology, her strength, lung capacity, and possibly a massive heart. Another part lies in her temperament, focused, calm, determined. Some horses panic when behind, others lose heart when challenged. Kinsom never did. She raced with composure and an uncanny will to win. Then there's her team, the trainer, the jockey, and the owner who believed in her even when others scoffed. But perhaps the final ingredient is something intangible. Destiny. Kingsum came along, at a time when Hungary needed a hero, when the world was more divided by national borders, and sport was one of the few ways to unite people. She traveled more than most horses of her era, beat the best of multiple nations, and did it all with flair, consistency, and grace. In the rich tapestry of horse racing, many threads gleam. Secretariat's Triple Crown in 1973, Seabiscuit's Underdog Story, Man o' War's Domination, Frankel's Elegance, and Black Caviar's Indomitable Sprinting. Each has their place, their moment, their glory. But there is only one unbeaten queen, and her name is Kingsum. She raced more times than any modern champion. She never lost. She conquered nations, silenced doubters, and inspired generations. More than a horse, she was an institution, a phenomenon, a myth come to life. As we look forward to the next great horse, the next unbeaten streak, we do so in the long, stretching shadow of a mare who once galloped across Europe like a force, of nature, flawless, fearless, and forever unbeaten. Kingsum is not merely the horse with the longest unbeaten streak. She is, quite simply, the greatest undefeated racehorse of all time.